Today we're going to look at the most mana expensive legendary creatures in the game. We're going to find out if they're worth it. I'm going to start off with Ith High Arcanist. This is a 7 mana, 3/5 human wizard. It's got vigilance. And it's got tap, untap target attacking creature. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and dealt by that creature this turn. What the heck? Is this literally just Maze of Ith on a 7 mana creature? 7 mana for Maze of Ith? Have you lost your damn minds? We can have Maze of Ith for 0 mana. Oh, but it's got Suspend. It's got Suspend for 4. So for a blue and a white, we gotta wait. Take it 4 turns. So basically by turn 6, we have a 3/5 vigilance creature out. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. And if I understand correctly, when a creature comes off Suspend, it basically has haste. I don't know. I'm on neutral on this, sort of, but I still don't like it. That's a little expensive for my Maze of Ith, if you know what I mean. Nothing wrong with Maze of Ith, though. Nothing wrong with Maze of Ith. Okay, we got Meme Brule with a name as 1. You can't suspend from the command zone. Well, you just don't make it your commander. That's all, David. So it's worse as commander. A name as 1. What is this? 12 mana, 8/8. Comes into play. If you played it from your hand, you may search your library for a spirit card and put it into play. That's exactly what I need from my tutors. I need my tutors to be 12 mana and only find spirit cards. When a name as 1 is put into a graveyard from play, you may remove it from the game. If you do, return target spirit card from your graveyard to play. Can you return itself? So it's put in the graveyard. No, sorry, you have to remove it from the game. They figured that loophole out, didn't they? Anyway, that's a lot of mana. It's a little too much mana, in my opinion. All right, next up. We got Oh Boy with Myojin. I feel like we've seen all these all-stars in the other one. Myojin of Seeing Winds. They see everything. It's a blue through 7 generic, 3/3 spirit. When it comes into play with the divinity counter on it if you played it from your hand. So don't be cheating this thing out. And as indestructible as long as it has a divinity counter on it. That's great. We spent 10 mana so that it can have a indestructible counter on it. But I guess we could proliferate extra ones on there. Remove a divinity counter from Myojin of Seeing Winds. Draw a card for each permanent you control. That's not bad! Well, you know, I like drawing cards for each permanent I control. In fact, it sounds like I'm going to draw my entire deck. But then basically it says, like, 10 mana, draw 20 cards. No. No, I don't think so. Don't like it. Okay, next up, Hello Toads. Abzo with the Atraxa. Is this seeing big play in Commander? Seeing big play everywhere else. Okay, we got, for black, blue, white, green, 3 generic, a 7/7 angel. Flying, vigilance, death touch, and lifelink. When hasn't Atraxa taken over the metagame? Those stupid Phyrexians. When Atraxa enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put a card of that type among the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I don't know about as your commander, but people are just cheating this play all over the place. No one can play with this card fairly. I wouldn't say nobody, but like not often. Unbelievably good card. Maybe a little too good if you ask me. Lurila, Moraphon. The Boundless. Moraphon the Boundless, a 7 mana 6/6 changeling. As it enters the battlefield, you get to choose a creature type. The spells of the chosen type you cast cost Wooburg less to cast. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana you pay. Other creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. This is very versatile. Not to mention, oh wow, maybe when we made the pets deck, we should have chose this as the commander, because it could buff up anything. So yeah, it like can be shoved in almost any creature type. I honestly don't think you should put this in a changeling deck. This should be just put in like, I think this would be better in a sliver deck, because then all the slivers would cost nothing, literally nothing. Actually a really good card. Next up we got Marcio with Octavia. The Living Thesis. We got 10 mana, 8/8. The spell costs 8 less to cast if you have 8 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard. That makes no flavor sense whatsoever, but it's got ward 8. It's got 8/8. We got 8, 8 over here, 8 over here, 8 over here. It's a conspiracy, I say. It's a conspiracy. They want to 8 me. Okay, Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, target creature has base power and toughness 8/8 until end of turn. That's right, B1 with the octopus. So, I mean, this card looks insane. It's actually really, really good. Costs 8 less to cast if you have 8 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard. Oh, you need at least 8. So you have to actually fill it up. That's not too hard, though. I actually think this is a banger card. Great card. Okay, we got Blast Offer. Hey, do you think best Dragons and Dungeons and Dragon cards would make an interesting video? Maybe. One day we'll do like a set review of that card, because there's only like one set, right? So one day we'll get around that. Yeah, I should just say Hexproof. I mean, at 8, who has 8 mana just lying around, you know? That's like asking, you got like $1 million lying around. Most people don't. Most people are gonna have to sell a kidney or two in order to get that mana. I'm gonna have to sell my, if I give you my kidney, can you pass me like half your mana in your deck over here? I need to kill this thing over here. Okay, we got Christopher B with Harrogast. Erupting Hellkite. This card's not even out yet. It's a Modern Horizons 3 card. 9 mana for a 6/6 Eldrazi Dragon. And then it's got Emerge for red 6 generic. Oh yeah, that pays for everything. So you may cast the spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the Emerge cost, reduced by that creature's mana value. When you cast the spell, you may exile your hand. If you do, you draw 3 cards. I do like that. It's got flying, and each creature spell you cast has Emerge. The Emerge cost is equal to its mana cost. I honestly have no idea how to evaluate this card. I have not played enough with Emerge to tell if this is like a really broken mechanic. Of course, drawing 3 cards is nice, but do I have to sacrifice my beefy creatures every single time I gotta play something else? No, I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of sacrificing my stuff to put new... You know, I want my creatures to stick on the board with glue. Glue them there. Glue them in place. Okay, next up, Will Anderson's Reaper King. Oh, it's, the Squall is... What is the CMC considered on this? It's got to be 7 mana or higher. This, in theory, could be higher, but in theory, it could be lower. It's as low as... I don't know what the mana value is considered on this, but I'm counting it as 5. Not that expensive. Affinity Emerge lets you use some of those trash affinity artifacts to pay for non-affinity artifacts. There we go. I guess you just have to throw your... I guess the Harrogast Erupting Nullkite into an affinity deck. The affinity will break this card. They always say affinity will break stuff, and then it just... No one even tries. They realize, this is a pile of crap. The problem is, like, in a lot of affinity decks, you still have to play, like, you know, affinity-like cards. Everything needs to have synergy together. You have this Harrogast Erupting Hellkite in your hand, like, I have no way of getting this in play. I have no Frogmite in play. I got nothing. I gotta play red, too, which means you can't play with Thought Monitor so well. Okay, Dr. Nemo, Shattuck. The Lord of the Secrets. 7 mana 5/5 vampire with flying. If you deal combat damage to a player, instead put that many +1/+1 counters on Shattuck, and that player puts that many cards on the top of their library into their graveyard. I would say this is very dirtily. Huge dirtily card. Better ways to mill somebody. Does it instead? It's like, yeah, if I deal combat damage, I deal no combat damage. Forget your life total. I'm going after your deck, which is like 99 cards. Your life total at 40. I'm in for a challenge, but I don't necessarily think challenges are a good thing around here. Okay, Grizzlebrand. So good it's banned. The first super chat, blown on a card banned in a lot of formats and is tier 1 everywhere else. Yeah, it's eight mana Necropotence. When it came out with this card, they're like, do they really need to put Necropotence on a creature? Or they were making those memes like corporate needs you to find the difference between these two pictures, and it had like a Necropotence and a Grizzlebrand. You basically get as much life as you pay. You draw the cards, except you can draw them directly into your hand. You don't get them at the end of turn, and you can get a lot of cards in your hand. You get. Usually people are drawing up to 21. In Commander, you can go like what's divisible? 28. You go to 35. That's absolutely nuts. Yeah, insane card. Beyond crazy. Elixir, we got Eris. Roar of the Storm. This is a blue-red generic 4/4 Elemental Warlock. Now, it costs 2 less to cast for each different mana value among instant and sorcery spells in your graveyard. What the hell does that mean? 2 less to cast for each different mana value. So if I have a 1 or a 2 or a 3, it costs 2 less? Why are they making these cards so weird? Why can't it just be intuitive off the bat? Okay, Flying and Prowess. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 4/4 red dragon elemental creature token with Flying and Prowess. Well, you can cast this thing for almost nothing for a 2 mana 4/4 Flying Prowess creature that also makes dragons. I'm in. Get in the car. We're going to storm. We're going to chase some storms. All right, Backtard. Itali. Primal Conqueror. Why do people like this card so much? This literally comes up on the like every single show. It is like a $15 card. I don't get. It's mono. Well, it's not mono. I guess it's for Gruul. All right, it's a 7 mana 7/7 with Trample. ETB, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells among the non-land cards this way without paying their mana cost. Ah, it's like a super cascader. It is, it's not just a 7/7, I cascade off the top of your deck. And for a Phyrexian, is the other ability necessary? It's a green, 9 generic, transform it only as a sorcery. Does anyone care about that? It's got Trample and Indestructible. It deals damage in the form of poison counters. Honestly, I didn't really need to see the backside. The front side is good enough for me. The backside is Blightsteel Colossus. Well, why don't you just play Blightsteel Colossus? In fact, you don't need to be playing in a Gruul deck for that. You can just play any deck. You could be playing mono white. You could be playing mono black. It's so silly. All you silly people, we have, this is, I guess, Blightsteel Colossus is now Blightsteel Colossus at home. This is like the new Blightsteel Colossus. Okay, we got Doer, Sisters of Stone Death. This is a green, black 4 generic 7/5 Gorgon. Now, green target creature blocks Sisters of Stone Death this turn if able. Then for a green and a black, remove from the game target creature blocking or blocked by Sisters of Stone Death. So effectively for 3 mana, poof, it's gone. And also for a black 2 generic, put target creature card removed from the game with Sisters of Stone Death into play under your control. This is actually pretty good. I think this is a pretty good card. Target creature, so you can force blocks and then you gain control of them. Now, if you have 8 mana to play this thing, you have also at least 8 mana, or you have at least 6 mana to activate all these abilities. This thing's $1. People need to be paying more attention to Sisters of Stone Death around here. Okay, next up, we've got Blast Offer, the old Gnawbone. Ooh, we got more dragons. Okay, green 5 generic for a 7/7 dragon with flying. Now, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. Oh, it's any creature. Oh my goodness. So it's gonna be a treasure party. They're all stealing things. If anything, they should be stealing treasures from someone else. So what are they? We inventing treasure? We're not mining it? Okay, I think this is a good card. I think it's a good card. Probably it is. It that betrays? It that betrays is not a legendary creature. So one day we'll do the non-legendary, non-creature legendary spells. This actually is... There's not many legendary spells, are there? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, next up. Let's take one from David. A Chroma. Angel of Fury. Okay, we got the red one. 8 mana for a 6/6. Now, it can't be countered. You know, the classic. You can't withstand the rage of a Chroma. Okay, flying trample, protection from white and from blue. Wow, really sticking it to blue around here. Pay a red to give it fire breathing, and also, oh, as morph. You'll never see it coming. Like, yeah, it could be 8 mana, or it could be 6 mana. You never know. This is not a very interesting card to me. I guess this is very appealing to people who are in counterspell metas. Oh, you always have that counterspell for everything. Well, I just built a deck that can't be countered. Shove it. It's okay. I'm not in love with this card. It's like, it has protection from blue. Not the greatest thing. The trample is nice, though. I will admit. The flying and trample, that's a pretty good combo. Can you morph it as a commander? That's a good question. I don't know. That is a good question. I have no idea. Toads with Progenitus. Double Wooburg. Protection from everything. But double Wooburg, that's 10 mana. This is terrible. Anyway, but if it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal Progenitus and shuffle it into its owner's library instead. It's not even very good versus mill decks, because it only returns itself. What about cards like Emrakul that bounces the entire graveyard? And other of the Eldrazi Titans. Progenitus! Progenitus is trying to make some pun out of the Itus thing, and it's not working, so we're just gonna abandon it and move on. Emperor, welcome. With Galta, Primal Hunger. Galta! 12 mana, 12/12, but it costs X less to cast, where X is the total power among creatures you control. It's got trample. I would say this is fine in your 99. I don't know who would want to play this as their commander. It seems a bit weird. But, like, again, I really like these cards. It might be 12 mana, but really, you got a discount, all right? You come on $2 Tuesdays, or 2 for Tuesdays, or you get, like, your 50% off days. Galta is going to be in play at a very good discount. Krokor Games. Kylox. Visionary Inventor. This is a 7 mana Viashino. They brought back the Viashinos. It's a 4/4 menace with board 2 and haste. When it attacks, sacrifice any number of creatures. Then exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the total power. Then you may cast any number of instants and or sorcery spells from among the exiled cards without paying their mana cost. That is a bit of a gamble. I guess with scrying and surveilling, you could make some good use out of this thing. It's a pretty strong card just by itself. It's like a 4/4 menace, haste, ward 2. So good luck blocking it, and it's gonna be annoying trying to kill it. All right, this is okay. When it only triggers upon attack, though. But don't make sure it doesn't attack, because when it does, it might be all over. We did Old Gnawbone already. It's been alright. Wow, you people love your Old Gnawbone. Okay, Jess with Tiamat. Literally 7 mana with Wooburg. For a 7/7 Dragon God. God of the Dragons, huh? Shivan Dragon bows down and prays to the Tiamat. Flying. When Tiamat enters the battlefield, if you cast it, choose your library for up to 5 dragon cards, not named Tiamat, that each have different names. Reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle. That's value! I have to admit, that's value. It's literally, it's like Bring to Light for dragons. Except Bring to Light is 5 mana. But this is basically feels like Bring to Light anyway. Yeah. Don't worry, Maddie. Welcome. The Diddler! We got Galta. Oh. Didn't we just do that one? Galta promo. Sorry about that. We, you got sniped. So for that, we donate to the next person. Chuck Norris for president. The Dargo. Dargo the Shipwrecker. Okay, what the hell? 7 mana for a 7/5 giant pirate, and it is an additional cost to cast the spell. You may sacrifice any number of artifacts and or creatures. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each permanent sacrifice this way, and 2 less to cast for each other artifact or creature you sacrifice this way. And all it has is trample? That's all it has? Actually, that's terrible, actually. Forget this. This is like... I can sacrifice any number of artifacts to make it cost 2 less, and all I have is a 7/5 thing with trample. The bonus is that I can have like another commander with this or whatever. Anyway, this is awful. This is a terrible legendary. It's just terrible. Is Tiamat not too expensive for so slow an effect? This effect is immediate. You enter the battlefield. You get your dragons. You get your dragons. What's wrong with getting you don't like dragons? This is like it's like better than Ancestral Recall for dragons. You ever play Treasure Cruise? Treasure Cruise is 8 mana. Sort of. Okay, Shalin, Emrakul, Promised End. Emrakul! 13 mana, 13/13. It's an Eldrazi that's just trying to move into the city, you know? Trying to join the... Emrakul goes to the Big Apple. Emrakul, the Promised End, costs 1 less to cast for each card type among cards in your graveyard. So what is that, like, reduce it by, like, 5? When you cast Emrakul, you gain control of target opponent during that player's next turn. After that turn, that player takes an extra turn. So it's like you're giving somebody an extra turn. You got it? So it's a good thing. It's like a group hug card. Wouldn't that work like that as a group hug card? Wow, I never thought about that. You take control of somebody's turn, you smack somebody else, not you. Like, you don't even harm them. You just help develop their board, and then you hit somebody, and then they take their turn, and they hit them again. That's interesting. You hit them once, we do the 1-2 punch with Emrakul, the Promised End. That's insane. It's flying trample, protection from instants. That's a bit odd, but whatever. Can't have protection from everything like last time. Amazing card. You can make it cost 7 in decks that typically play it. Okay, next up, we've got the Pacers fan forever with Galta. Oh, another Galta, but a different one. The Stampede Tyrant. People love your Galtas. Is Galta big in the lore or something? Is this, it's not a Planeswalker. Not yet, at least. Okay, we got an 8 mana 12/12 Elder Dinosaur with Trample. When Galta enters the battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. There we go. We just found the combo with Tiamat. There we are. Step 1, play Tiamat. Step 2, you play Galta. And then your opponents, they're gonna regret calling you over for tonight. This is all a little legacy play. Really? That's crazy. Anyway, okay, it's a strong effect. It's like, you know, it's big show and tell, basically. It's a super show and tell. It does cost 8 mana, though. Alexander Gitaxius. Core Augur. It's 10 mana, but it's a 5/4. It's got flash, though, so no one's gonna see it coming. At the beginning of your end step, draw 7 cards. And then each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7. No, no one's gonna love looking at that at all. So what does this mean? It's like, what's it called? It's like a perpetual Sire of Insanity? That's what I'm thinking of. So everyone basically sticks with one card in their hand, or 0 really. See, whatever you draw, you better play. And then you perpetually have a Time Twister every single turn. That's good value. A good discard and reanimate target? It's possible. Yeah, you could do that. To be honest, I think there are better discard at reanimate targets though. Or maybe not. In Commander, you lost a Grizzlebrand. This is the next best Grizzlebrand we have around here. Jingataxius. It is not a goal, but a process. The process of creating the perfect Phyrexia. Yeah, they're really obsessed with that stuff. Great card. I hope it, I mean, I think it's worth it for 10. I mean, the ability is insane. It's absolutely insane. Next up. Well, what did I read about? No thought vessel or reliquary tower, you lose. Oh, does that counter this? I never thought about that. It says each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7. You have no maximum hand size. Jingataxius, didn't you see? It might have escaped your attention, but I actually have a reliquary tower. I think I'm gonna keep all my cards after all. Depends on timestamps. That's a weird ruling. Super, super weird, super strange. All right, we got Steve Cooper in the house with Myojin of Grim Betrayal. And of course, Steve Cooper gonna donate this guy and Maddening Cacophony or Board Wipe. Oh boy. And of course, there's gonna be two donations. Okay, we got 6 mana for a 5/2 Spirit. Enters the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it if you cast it from your hand. Remove an indestructible counter from Myojin of Grim Betrayal. Put onto the battlefield under your control all creature cards and all graveyards that were put there from anywhere this turn. This turn? Why can't I just do it whenever? This is so clunky. So like, what does a board wipe look like? 4 mana plus the it's 8 actually. It's 8 mana. So this is like, we're looking at 12 mana. Aren't there just cards out there like there are, I think there's, I don't know how much it costs. Maybe it's 8 mana itself. Where you just take all cards from all graveyards and put it under your control. But the thing is, this has to be done this turn, so you need to have a lot of mana up on one turn. I don't like it. I'm sure if you have, I guess if you have Cabal Coffers out, you better have your Cabal Coffers. Get your mana rituals out. Make Myojin of Grim Betrayal worth it. I guess it's possible. In a world, it is possible. Danny, what about Critterhoof? Is Critterhoof even legendary? Not legendary. Bryce with Rurik. It's Rurik Thar, right? I know my Rurik Thars. 6 mana, disqualified. We got 2 disqualifications in a row. Are we gonna make it 3 in a row? Sledge Michaels. Thraxamunder is so dope. Thraxamunder. There we go. We have the Grixis Zombie Assassin. It's a 6/6 with haste. And if it attacks, defending player sacrifices a creature. Whenever a player sacrifices a creature, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Thraxamunder. This is a very small upgrade. It's very underwhelming, to be honest, for my 7 mana. Haste, defending player sacks a creature. If they're low on creatures, it's strong. But if they're not low on creatures, I mean, you're in a lot of trouble. Whenever a player sacrifices a creature. Oh, is this good if you're up against a sacrifice deck? I was just thinking, like, getting a counter when you attack, like, that's worthless. Who cares? But making your opponents sacrifice their creatures, or maybe, like, preventing your opponents from sacrificing their creatures, maybe there's some value to this. I'm a little iffy on this. I'm not super thrilled about the 7 mana effect, but maybe it plays better in practice than than what it looks like. You are the sacrifice deck. It also triggers if you sacrifice. Oh! Oh, yeah, a player. Oh, what do you know? I'm a player too. I'm also a player. That makes some sense. You got a big creature. All right. How many more donations do we have? Basil, Iona. Oh yeah, this is a very it's a Shield of Emeria. Does anyone like playing with this card? Even when I had the option to play with this card, I prefer to play with Emrakul or something like this. We do know it's banned. Yeah, 9 mana. Choose a color. Okay, you don't get to play with that color anymore. Ha! Foolish mortal. You came with a 1-color deck? Well, guess what? That's a punishment, because I'm playing with Iona, Shield of Emeria, and I'll even name your entire deck. Don't take it personally. And then, of course, I shouldn't take it personally when you don't invite me anymore. Yeah, this card's amazing. I've only ever played it in Cube. There's less and less places to play this in casual. Okay, you hear the music. We're going to look at way more Magic the Gathering expensive cards, but we have to also thank our sponsors today, FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week this week, save 15% off all Secret Lair singles and box sets. What do they have available for us? What happens if I click on this? We're going to see Secret Lair singles and box sets. We will! You can get the Goblin Guide and Teferi's Protection. In fact, I don't think that's a Secret Lair card. I guess it's like includes a bunch of promos as well. We've got Expressive Iterations, $46. I gotta sell my Expressive Iterations. I got a few of them. And a Battle Royale. You know where to get them from. You get them at FusionGamingOnline.com, of course. Well, supplies last. But they always refill their supplies if they don't last. And also, don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout for 5% off all your purchases. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards on Magic Online, the digital platform where you can play all formats. We're talking Standard, Pauper, Pioneer, Standard. I said Standard twice, didn't I? Modern, Legacy, Vintage, Commander. You can do all that on Magic Online, and then you can play every deck available any format when you are renting with Mana Traders. It's cheaper, it's a ban list saver, because when your cards get banned, no, it's not your cards, it was Mana Traders cards. You get to play every single deck to get that competitive edge. And you can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_7LH. You heard it here, 7LH. Okay, next. This next super chat time. All right, Emperor, you want the OG Nicol Bolas, do you? I personally think this card sucks. I do like the picture though. Knowledge. He's got a lot. You gotta read. Those who don't read, they don't get better. Okay, we have a red, red, black, black, blue, blue, 2 generic, 7/7 flying dragon. When an opponent damaged by Nicol Bolas must discard their entire hand, and then ignore this effect if the opponent has no cards in hand. Of course, pay Grixis during your upkeep, or Nicol Bolas is buried. I wonder how long it took Nicol Bolas to learn how to not have an upkeep effect. 30 days to lose your upkeep pains. With this simple, buy my book, get my free webinar. And of course, Nicol Bolas ended up learning a lot more tricks after that. This ability is terrible. I mean, I think it's worthless. Not to mention it's going to tax you for the rest of the game. I don't think this is a very good card. Given how big Nicol Bolas is, those books must be huge. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, books for scale. Well, he's magical. Maybe he shrunk himself down to read these books. Alternatively, maybe they buy books for planeswalkers, you know? Maybe these are custom-made books. Maybe he printed it out on his own printer. Next up, we're going to take a look at Royal Pain, the Ur-Dragon. Is it? Oh, yeah. You guys got me confused. There's like Scion of the Ur-Dragon, and then there is literally the Ur-Dragon. Okay, Wooburg 4 generic for a 10-10. Oh, with Eminence! So we don't even have to look at the casting cost. As long as the Dragon is in the command zone or on the battlefield, other dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That's insane. Now, it won't cheapen... It's gotta have some generic casting cost in order to get that deal, so... That's like playing the game with a Sapphire Medallion immediately. So like, even before the game starts, alright, I start the game with Sapphire Medallion in play. Whenever one or more dragons you control attack, draw that many cards, then you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. This card's insane! This card, like, even if it does nothing, this card is great. And then if you put it on the battlefield, I think it's bonkers. Unbelievable card. Okay, Danny, how about Maelstrom Wanderer? Maelstrom Wanderer. 8 mana for a 7/5 elemental. Creatures control have Cased. And we have Cascade, Cascade. So you double Cascade. Well, yeah, well, but why would we even stop there? Can't we just Cascade 4 times with that other card? Yeah, to be honest, I'm not in love with this thing. Creatures go, oh, I guess the idea is you cascade into 2 creatures and they all have haste. I was like, haste on an 8 mana card, like, big deal. You know what? I don't really like gambling. You're not guaranteed to get anything that you want. It's not speaking to me. It's not speaking to me. Okay, Baltharaz. Sorry, Balthazar. Did we do Emrakul Ion's Torn yet? We have not. Emrakul. 15 mana for a 15/15. Eldrazi. Can't be countered. When you cast this spell, take an extra turn after this one. I need a sound effect for, like, taking an extra turn. I do not have anything useful. Okay, flying. Protection from spells that are 1 or more colors. Annihilator 6. And when Emrakul is put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. Is it not sad that Emrakul probably sees a little bit more play overall in decks that are just using it to protect themselves from mill? Does anyone find that wild? I actually can't verify if it's more used in the sideboard. Like, it's usually just a one of, but it sees a good chunk of play in sideboards just for that purpose. You're not gonna mill me out, though. Apex Devastator isn't legendary, though. Oh, for the Cascade, Cascade, Cascade. This is the only legendary Cascader we can work with. Anyway, this card's broken. It sees play everywhere. Okay, nah, we did Morophon. We literally saw Morophon. I thought you were here since the beginning, Crowcore. Thought you were here since the beginning. Okay, Bell. If you like to steal things, Memnarch. I love to steal things. You're speaking my language. 7 mana for a 4/5. 3 mana, target permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. And then I swipe it for 4 mana, gain control of target artifact. In fact, most decks already have artifacts. I don't even have to turn anything into squat. And then your mana is now mine. It's a decent card. Okay, we got Emperor. Paying more to get priority around here. Hazazon Tamar. Just flicker him a bunch in 1 turn and leave him on the battlefield because you get tokens on next open. Okay, we have a 7 mana 2/4 human warrior. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Hazazon, it's Hazazon, or Hazon, whatever, enters the battlefield since the beginning of your last upkeep, put a 1/1 red, green, and white sand warrior creature token onto the battlefield. For each land you control, those creatures have, when a permanent named Hazazon Tamar isn't on the battlefield, exile this creature. I don't really understand what's going on here. Like, what the hell does it do? Off battlefield, not on. At the beginning of the upkeep, if this thing entered the battlefield since the beginning of your last upkeep, put a 1/1 red, green, and white Sand Warrior token onto the battlefield for each land you control. Those creatures have, when a permanent named has is on town or isn't on the battlefield. Okay, so when those creatures die, sorry, when this thing dies, all those creatures die. We like brought the sand to life, essentially. Makes 1 token per turn. They last as long as he does. This card's terrible. Read the Oracle text. Did it get worse? When it enters the battlefield, create X 1/1 Sand Warrior creature tokens that are red, green, and white at the beginning of your next upkeep, where X is the number of lands you control at that time. When it leaves the battlefield, exile all Sand Warriors. It was cleaner. It was, I'm not gonna lie, that was cleaner. I don't think Hullbreaker Horror is legendary. Night Shrimp. Okay, we have 7 mana for a not legendary. Disqualified. You're the 3rd one disqualified today. All right, we got Chase Lewis on the show. We got Eris, Roar of the Storm. Oh, we did that one. We just did that one. It is a new one. It's good. It's not bad. Okay, Chase, how about you're gonna try another one? Heragast. Erupting Nullkite. Oh god, we did all these. You're throwing out all the new ones. The new ones I have, and some that have not even been out yet. Nikachu, what was for dinner last night? Chicken. Fried chicken. And what's gonna be my dinner this night? Fried chicken. Okay, we're gonna give it to Freak Inferno with Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite. It's a 7 mana 4/7. It's got Vigilance. Other creatures you control get +2/+2, and creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. So first off, your creatures get bigger, your opponent's creatures get smaller. What's not to love? This is a great card. 10 out of 10 banger. It's killed me millions of times. Dr. Nemo. If I ask to see your doctorate, your certificate to be a doctor, can you present it to me? Okay, we got a Chroma, Vision of Ixidor. Seven mana for a 6/6 Angel, flying, first strike, vigilance, and trample. At the beginning of each combat until end of turn, each other creature you control gets +1/+1 if it has flying, +1/+1 if it has first strike, and so on for double strike, death touch, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, madness, protection, reach, trample, vigilance, and partner. And it has partner. Until the turn, each other creature you control gets +1/+1 if it has. What the hell is this? At the beginning of each combat until end of turn, each other creature you control gets +1/+1 if it has flying. Oh, you were just buffing it up. It just gets a +1/+1 counter for each, like, ability it has on top of it. Definitely don't have the doctorate, just a cool name. That's fine. Doctor, it's like Dr. Nemo. I have a doctorate in marine biology. I'm not in love with this card. Flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, that's not bad. You have combat. You know what, it's not, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's not bad. You know, I have to give a little bit of a pass here. It's not worthless. It's not like that sand thing. Ooh, John with Blightsteel. Blightsteel Colossus. Oh, not legendary. Instantly disqualified. Instantly. It's gotta be. Go on. The show. The name of the show explains the show. It's legendary, most mana expensive legendary creatures. And it's gotta be at least 7 mana. Yeah. Look, we got, yeah. Coffee Crew. It's quick on that one. Super quick. Duke, Firebird. Oh, we did Jingataxias. Is there just not that many legendaries? Like, you people are repeating the same ones over and over again. I say 20 legendaries and Nikachu never picks me. All right, well, where are you? And you just spent your comment complaining I don't pick your stuff. Jin-Gitaxias Progress Tyrant. So you're telling me Jin-Gitaxias was making progress? Jin-Gitaxias. Oh, Gitaxias, not Gitaxian. Okay, 7 mana for a 5/5. Whenever you cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. This ability triggers only once. Whenever an opponent casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, counter that spell. This ability triggers only once each turn. So it's like partially... What is this? Whenever you cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, you copy it? You copy your artifact? A copy of a permanent spell becomes a token? All right, thank you for specifying this. Now, how good is it? It's probably pretty good, to be honest. We can copy artifacts? That sounds wild. Now, in addition to that, we're also sort of a pseudo-Ireo deck, because whenever an opponent casts their spells, we counter it instantly. But only the first one each turn. Next up... Did my super chat not come through? I'll go check. You have one here? Don't worry. We'll get there eventually. You're in line. Okay, Emperor with Gostra Dirk. Is it Gosta Dirk? Oh, we got a stinker. You've nominated a stinker around here. We have a blue, white, 3 generic for a 4/4 legendary human warrior. First strike. Creatures with Island Walk may be blocked as if they did not have this ability. I have some good news for you. There are better ways to blow away a Merfolk deck. Easier ways. You can just play, like, simply Ensnaring Bridge. It's like a moat, but especially for Merfolk. Okay, next up, we'll take a look at... Okay, Basil and Brandon Ding want a name as one on here. I think we did that one. Yeah, we did a name as one. Arcanus. Zakama. Primal Calamity. The 9-mana 9/9 Elder Dinosaur with Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. Enters the battlefield. If you cast it, untap all lands you control. So it costs absolutely nothing. 3 mana. It deals 3 damage to target creature. So red 2 generic, 3 damage to target creature. Green 2 generic, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Also a white 2 generic, you gain 3 life. Who doesn't want more life around here? Great card. Next super chat comes from King Ginger. The Corvold Gleeful Glutton. It is 8 mana for a 4/4. That's also another dragon. But it costs 1 less to cast. For each card type among permanents you sacrifice this turn. Very odd. For each card type. There's not many card types you can sack. Lands. Artifacts, creatures. Oh, I guess enchantments, planeswalkers. Yeah, there's quite a few. Yeah. Okay, Flying Trample and Haste. Whenever Corvold... Oh, this is Corvold. Whenever Corvold deals combat damage to a player, put X +1/+1 counters on Corvold and draw X cards, where X is the number of permanent types among cards in your graveyard. This is just weird. What a weird card. Flying Trample. It does have haste, though. So basically, like, the turn it comes down onto the battlefield, I mean, it's ready to race. So it's go time. Although if it's your commander, people will see it coming. So how easy is this set? It's easy to sack a creature. It's easy to sack an artifact. That's it. I guess reducing it down to 6 makes it pretty good. I give it a pass. Not as strong as the other Corvold, but he's fine. It's hard to not vibe to the Mother 3 OST. Basil! Icebreaker Kraken. Or Kraken. Is it Kraken or Kraken? Ice. Oh, I call it Ace. Icebreaker. 12 mana for this squiggly looking thing. It's an 8/8. Spell costs 1 less to cast for each snow land you control. Oh, they could cost nothing. You pay. It's basically just 6 mana. You have 6 lands in play. You reduce by 6. You pay 6. Here's the battlefield. Artifacts and creatures target opponent controls don't untap during that player's next untap step. Then return 3 snow lands you control to their owner's hands. Return Icebreaker Kraken to its owner's hand. I sort of like this card. I have a feeling it probably sucks in Commander, but I really like the prospects of playing this one-on-one. But I can't not allowed to play with non-basic land, not too many non-basic lands. I guess it's just too poor. If it was like all opponents, I think it would be a lot better. It would like it would reach that breaking point. Very interesting card though. Oh, not legendary, damn it. When I read this for so long, I should have been reading chat this entire time. Okay, what next up? Quill with Rexiel, the Risen Deep. Is this any good? I have a few copies of this card, and I don't think anyone. Oh, it's 6 mana, also disqualifying. Damn, we just thrown that disqualification buzzer left, right, and center these days. Freak. Vornclex. That's no way that's 7 mana. Voice of Hunger. Oh, this one is very expensive. Okay, 8 mana for a 7/6 Praetor Trample. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool. Of any type that land produced. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Oh yeah, that's perfectly insane. Anything that will double your mana is just disgusting. King Ginger's Damia, Sage of Stone. This is just like suggested not too long ago. 7 mana for a 4/4 Gorgon. Death Touch, skip your draw step at the beginning of your upkeep. If you have fewer than 7 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. I think it's broken. Great card. Basically empty-handed. Oh, is that the beginning of your upkeep though? Ah, damn it. Keep forgetting about that part. Okay, I don't know. Waiting another turn to draw 7 cards, not so strong. I like the card in theory, though. Really love it. Control Alt Composer, Patron of the Moon. Okay, we got a 7 mana 5/4 Spirit with Moonfolk Offering. You may play this card anytime. You could play an instant by sacrificing a Moonfolk and paying the difference in mana cost between this and the sacrifice Moonfolk. It's a merge! It's the origin story to Emerge. It's like Emerge before Emerge became Emerge. Huh. An all started in Kamigawa. Maybe it's secretly an Eldrazi. These spirit, you know, there's a lot of spirits on Kamigawa that really look squiggly and spaghetti-like. Perhaps they were Eldrazi all along. Anyway, flying. Pay 1, put up to 2 land cards from your hand into play tapped. Honestly, I think at this point it's pointless. What do you need more lands in play for? Unless, I guess if you're playing with like Life from the Loam, maybe you're loaming cards back to your hand. You gotta like get him back into play. Yeah, exactly. How many lands are you gonna have once you play this thing? How many creatures are you gonna have in play? After all, we just made the Moonfolk Offering. I mean, a Moonfolk Offering Kiefer. I mean, we have more lands in hand. But honestly, we probably don't. So it's like Emerge, it's Zybers. It is Emerge, effectively. Night Tramp, the Balrog of Moria. Some mana for an 8/8 Avatar Demon, and it's got Trample and Haste. But when it dies, you may exile it. When you do, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. It's got cycling for 4 mana. If you cycle this thing, create 2 treasure tokens. This is not particularly exciting. It's just like it's just a big beater, to be honest. And if it dies, I exile up to 1 creature, up to 1. Potentially nothing. I don't know. It's not. I'm not getting anything out of this thing. It's just a gigantic red hasty creature. Just let them blast you for like 8 damage. No big deal. Reaper King got disqualified because it could be 5 mana. I don't know honestly what the CMC of Reaper King is, but you can play it for 5 mana, so I say it's disqualified. Okay, next up we go Almond, waiting patiently for their super chat to show up. We got Emrakul, the world anew. Another card that hasn't been released yet. 12 mana for a 12/12 Eldrazi. When you cast this spell, gain control of all creatures target player controls. That's right. This is the moment where someone hard casts Emrakul, the world anew, and then everyone just stares down at their cards like they're just like, okay, don't choose me, don't choose me, don't choose me, don't choose me, please don't choose me. Flying protection from spells and from permanents that were cast this turn. Emrakul, the world anew, leaves the when it leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. Then I don't even get my creatures back. Also has Madness. Pay 6 colorless mana. Great card. I assume it's gonna be a great card. 6 mana for this effect is just bonkers. Probably too strong. Technically, Reaper King's CMC is 10. Okay, we do the Reaper King. Okay, gotta do the Scarecrow. From what I hear, this is the only good Scarecrow in the game. Other Scarecrow creatures you control get +1/+1. It's a 6/6 creature. Whenever another Scarecrow comes into play under your control, destroy target permanent. Are there any good Scarecrows in this game, or is this just played in the Changeling decks? I mean, I don't mind blowing things up for that much, for the low cost of playing Scarecrows. I think that's great. Or Changelings. Someone to foresee with the Ray of Dawnbringer. This is not the bringers that we know on this show. It's bringing the light. This is white, 6 generic for 4/6 angel. Flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I don't like it. It like literally does nothing when it enters the battlefield. It's like sort of like that card that drew 7 cards at your upkeep. Your upkeep is like a million miles away. You play this and it literally is just a 4/6 flyer. You have not died until I consent. Yeah, well, it's gonna. Anyway, not impressive enough in my opinion. King Ginger pulling out some heavy hitters here. Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. Fun with Ishin. I didn't even know this had to combo with anything. 10 mana, 10/10 Eldrazi. When you cast this spell, you exile 2 permanents. So it's indestructible. So, you know, bring it. Whenever Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger attacks, a defending player exiles the top 20 cards of their library. So I'm going to blast you for 10 damage. Also going to remove a huge chunk of your deck. Next up, we did Tiamat. I like how someone named Draconic with a dragon avatar asks for Tiamat. That's funny. It's very cute. Next up, I don't know if Kano got a card. Sauron, the Lord of the Rings. Basically the also the name of the show or movie. Okay, it's an 8 mana 9/9 avatar horror. Can you even see what his head looks like? Not really. It looks like his head is a horse or something. Does he have the head of a horse? Whenever you cast this spell, amass Orcs 5, mill 5 cards, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Trample. Whenever a commander an opponent controls dies, the ring tempts you. When you cast this spell, you get a 5-power creature. You mill 5 cards. You get a creature. Oh yeah, that's strong. This card's wild. That's a helmet? I don't think so. Damn it, I can't show it to you. I don't think that's his helmet. He's got, like, the helmet doesn't... It didn't look like that in the movie. I'll tell you that much. Okay, next up we got... Vishcherbioni. Agent Frank Horrigan. From the follow set, great commander for any counters, in my opinion. It's a 7-mana 8/6 mutant warrior with trample, and Agent Frank Horrigan has indestructible as long as it attacked this turn. But what if it didn't attack? It's all fair game to destroy. When it enters the battlefield, their attacks proliferate twice. Man, I can't tell how strong, like, when something proliferates. Supposed to put this in an affinity deck or something? His head is facing his arm? I don't know what I'm looking at. I really honestly don't. The head should be facing forward, whatever. Okay, back to Agent Frank Horrigan. Sure. You know what? It's a big trampling thing. You know, it's possible that just proliferating twice is enough value, and even if Agent dies, big deal. You're still ahead. Intended for the rad counters, but 2 poison counters a turn is nothing to sneeze at either. Well, but if someone ups your poison, they're gonna kill you. Like, everyone, you know, everyone's just gonna look at the table and be like, enemy spotted. You think you're gonna survive, like, 2 more rotations? Oh, my poison just went from 1 to 3. This is pretty exponential. That was a 200% return on that person's poison. 200%! At that rate, you'll be dead next. You'll be completely dead next turn. Okay, we're now in super chat only mode. Okay, Blast Offer says Wizard's Spellbook. This literally sounds like a Wizards of the Coast product. 7-mana artifact. Well, this has... First off, this is not a creature. Second, it's not even legendary. We're completely off topic here. Okay, so for that, we are going to donate to... Toilet Duck. Razia Boros Archangel. 8 mana for a 6/3. Flying, Vigilant, and Haste. So, also, you can tap it immediately. The next 3 damage that we dealt to target creature you control this turn is dealt to another target creature instead. That is just bizarre. I'm not feeling it. It's a bit expensive for its ability. Now, if we had Lightning Helix people, you know, I could be in for it. I could be in for that, that's for sure. Okay, Emperor Graz, the Unstoppable Juggernaut. What the hell? I was like, what creature type is this? And then I saw Juggernaut, and I'm like, well, that did not help me at all. Juggernauts you control attack each combat if able. Juggernauts you control can't be blocked by walls. Other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3. So it's like literally like the OG Juggernaut from Alpha and Beta, and are Juggernauts in addition to their other creature types. Because all creatures become Juggernauts. It's the Lord of the Juggernauts. This card's terrible. It's absolutely garbage. I would never play this thing. I guess under the certain, like, if you're a token deck, this might be fine. First ability, dubious. Second ability, useless. Third ability, okay. You know what? If your creatures are just, if you just got a bunch of junk in your deck, it should work. Next up, King Ginger's Sephara Skyblade. Sephara. Not to be mistaken with Sephora. Sephara Skyblade, the 7-mana 7/7 angel. You can pay white and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Oh, that makes it give a huge discount. Okay, we have a flying lifelinker, and other creatures you control with flying have indestructible. I think this is great. It's effectively, you can pay a white and tap 4 creatures. It costs 1 mana. You have a 7/7 flying lifelinker that will make all your other flyers indestructible. I think this card, I mean, maybe that's a little aggressive, but I think it's a strong card. Tap 4 untap creatures control. And it has to have whatever. You just play with a bunch of flyers, no big deal. And make sure they have vigilance. So you attack, you hit your opponent for damage, and you cast your Sapphire Skyblade. I think it's a great card. Paul McDonald. We got Teresian Mindbreaker. Welcome to all the new faces here. There's like a bunch of new faces I've never seen before on this show. Okay, we have a 7 mana 6/4 another Juggernaut. What are the odds we see 2 Juggernauts in one show? Oh, not legendary. Disqualified. What's with all these disqualified cards? What's with all these disqualified super chats? Okay, so we're gonna donate this one. We'll donate to who hasn't got a card yet. Who has you got a card? I know you got a card, Christopher B. You know, I kept an eye out for you. Pretty sure Night Shrimp got a card. I failed. It's not legendary. Yeah, it has to be legendary. I didn't think the rules to the show were that complicated. I've disqualified like 8 cards today. I thought it was pretty straightforward. It's a straightforward show around here. Who hasn't got a card? I don't think Primarch got a card. Avacyn, Angel of Hope. Well, it's not easy to get indestructible. So if you spend 8 mana on an 8/8 with flying, vigilance, indestructible, and gives all your other permanents indestructible, it's a good one in my book. Bell, Toxrill the Corrosive. Yeah, we can do Bell. We can do Toxrill. 7 mana for a 7/7 slug. At the beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. And also whenever a creature you don't control with a slime counter on it dies, we get a 1/1 black slug creature token. Not to mention, for 2 mana we get to sack the slug and draw a card. I like this. It's got big defense while it shrinks your opponent's board. One turn at a time. And pretty sure we did this one, Pacers fan forever. You unfortunately got sniperoonied. Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger. Do that, Vorinclex. Just be sure. Yeah, we did that one. So, who is gonna get the last super chat? Who is gonna get it? Yeah, reading the show explains the show. Big Pogger. Shieldred the Whispering One. Shieldred the W. Shieldred. Is this a real card? It is. Alright. I found it. It was not called the Whispering One. It is just Whispering One. This 7 mana 6/6 Praetor with Swamp Walk. You just need Urborg out. Now you got unblockable creatures. And also at the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. I think all these things combined, this card's a great card. Your opponent will slowly get drained on resources, and you renew yours. And at the very least, when you pass the turn, you are getting value. And with that, everyone, that's it for today. Thanks so much for contributing today. Today's show, we got to see a bunch of big man, expensive legendary creatures. And if you want to be part of the show, you got to be here 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks everyone who supports the channel. If you're a member on YouTube, a patron on Patreon, or you support the show but with your super chats, or use super chats to help other people be part of the show. But most importantly, we got to thank the coffee crew for being here this great afternoon. This show would be nothing if it wasn't for Steve Cooper, Arcanus, Benedict, Ferginka, Toilet Duck, Bell, Christopher B, Sandwich, Luca, Jess, Steve Cooper, Toads, Old Boy, Kano, we got Bell, Arcanus, I think I mentioned them already, Vitor, Freak, Alexander, Darkest, Angel, because you guys are the show. And this show, you know, it's a show for everyone based This is like a community, almost like a community-based show. So as usual, my coffee crew, you keep brewing up them coffees, and we will keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.